Hello everyone and welcome to our today's session. Our today's session is about Apache AGE and its journey during the donation, incubation, and also graduation. My name is Aya Badal and I'm the Apache AGE VP, also one of the main PMC members of this project. I've been working with Bit9 since 2018 and also working on Apache AGE since 2019.
Hello everyone, my name is John Gimignani. I am the lead developer and PMC of the Apache AGE project. I am also one of the original core developers and architects of Apache AGE. I've been with Bit9 for about 3.5 years now, and my key contributions to the Apache AGE project have been the typecasting and VLE components.
Hello everyone, I'm Josh Innes. I'm a senior software developer at Bit9 Global. I have been working on the Apache AGE project since 2019. My main contributions to the project so far have been the non-VLE portions of the match clause, the merge clause, the set clause, the create clause, and the delete clause.
In our today's session, we are covering different topics. We will talk about what is Apache AGE and the benefits of the Apache AGE. Also, we will walk you through the Apache AGE journey through the top level graduation, top level process. And also, we will talk more about the building and working with the community during incubation and graduation. And also, we will share with you some of the lessons that we learned from becoming a top level project during this process for the last couple years. And at the end, we will have around 10 minutes Q&A. So please feel free to write down your question and ask us at the end, and we'll be more than happy to answer any question that you may have.
What is Apache AGE? Apache AGE is a graph extension to the Postgres database. Apache AGE integrates the OpenCipher specification graph modeling language, a graph-centric database representation, and graph processing into the Postgres database. As an extension, Apache AGE leverages the user's investments such as developers, infrastructure, and data in Postgres without locking the user to a specific version or fork of Postgres itself. Additionally, Apache AGE allows the mixing of SQL and OpenCipher queries, enabling the user to quickly share data between the traditional relational style database of Postgres and the OpenCipher graph database of AGE. In this slide, we take a deeper look at the architecture of Postgres and how AGE is integrated into it. Basically, in Postgres, there are 4 stages. There's the query parsing stage, the query transform stage, the planner optimizer stage, and the executor stage. These then put the results into storage, and they will interact with the transaction cache layer. Postgres allows us to access certain parts of these different stages via hooks. So we have our own query parsing routine that is activated after the Postgres routines are run, and this allows us to go through the actual parsed tree and find our OpenCipher node that we put in called Cipher. And then we perform parsing on that node. And then we pass the query parsing to our version of query transform, which also integrates some of Postgres's query transform. And then that gets passed on to the next stage, which goes to the planner optimizer, where we have some custom optimizations hooked into the planner optimizer. And then after the planner optimizer, the executor part gets executed, in which it will now execute all the code that is presented, and we have our own custom functions that get called for executing our particular routines. Again, all this data is stored in the Postgres storage system, and it utilizes their transaction cache layer.
In this slide, what we'll talk about is more on Apache AGE journey through the top level project. This project started by Bit9 in 2019 as Agents Graph extension, which basically is a sister product to Agents Graph. And back in 2019, we donated the project to Apache Foundation. And we went through the renaming the project to AGE, which stands for Graph Extension. After the donation, we entered the incubation process in March 2020. And we had to work on some processes and complete some tasks. And after successfully finishing everything, Apache AGE graduated as a top level in May 2022. What we have in this slide is basically the Apache AGE journey. It's the high-level overview of where the project started it and where is it today. As we mentioned, some of the main committers of this project is John, Josh, Dihao, and myself. Some of the main contributors that helped us a lot during this process and that are PMC members right now are Nick, Perry Potter, and Alex. Our champion Jim helped us to enter the incubation. And then Kevin, Vaughn, Felix, Trista as our mentors helped us a lot during this process to be able to successfully complete all the tasks that are required by incubation. So as you can see in this timeline, basically in pre-incubation, we had to propose a draft explaining why Apache AGE should be a part of the ASF Foundation. And also we had to find a sponsor, we had to find mentors, and we had to call a vote for all the decisions that we made and for all the decisions that we wanted to make. And during the incubation, after we entered the incubation, we did releases. For each release, we had to again go through the voting process. So we had to follow specific standard and requirement. And after that, we called for a community vote and IPMC vote to be able to graduate as a top level. And after that, and as I mentioned, in May 2022, we graduated as a top level. The code base of AGE was donated by Bit9 back in 2019. And as we mentioned before, prior to AGE, there was Agents Graph, which was a fork of Postgres. Agents Graph was open source, but not part of Apache Software Foundation. After that, we started it getting more, inquiries from the community of Agents Graph asking for an extension instead of a fork of Postgres. And the reason, the logic behind it was that the extension would provide more benefit to its users. For example, the ease of installation, compatibility with existing system, and migration, and etc. Since Agents Graph has its own community since 2017, we made some transition from that community to AGE. And one note is that all of the developer and main, I would say core developer of Agents Graph are now AGE developers and AGE PMCs. As we mentioned, John, Josh, and Dihao, which are now also working on AGE. During the incubation process, back in March 2020, we had to go through some legal standard and to make sure that we are aligned with the ASF requirements. For example, internal and external licenses and trademark dependency, they all needed to be aligned with the Apache standards. So for example, AGE has some Postgres code, so we had to make sure that the Postgres license is also compatible with all the standards that Apache is asking. During the time that we developed the new community, we had to build an active, open, and diverse community. We had to make sure that if the members are disagree, they can resolve this basically technical conflict without destroying any relationship during this process. We had to be really open about any decisions that we made or we were going to make on the mailing list. So we had to send our ideas, our thoughts, or any decision that we wanted to make on the mailing list, and we had to hear from the community to see if everyone agrees or if anyone had any points that is conflicting with what we're looking for. We also had to adapt the voting style of Apache AGE. So, for example, to do any releases, we had to go through the voting process. So we had to open a thread, and provide all the release information on that thread, and ask the community to check all the licensing, all basically all the code and the key signature, everything, to make sure everything is good. And after checking that, the community had to vote. If we received a specific number of +1 vote, then we could proceed with the release process. If not, if anyone raises any issue or anything, we had to go back, fix that issue, and open a voting thread again. As based on what I said, you can see that all the process, specific incubation process, was highly dependent on the community and not a single contributor, which was making it really great, because then it was raising this bar really high. To make sure of the quality of following all the standards and all that during the incubation process. Some of the tasks that needed to be done before going through the graduation process for us were to build processes for the tasks that we needed to be completed. For example, we needed a specific process for building the documentation, the user manual, development documentation, tutorials, and other documentation. We also needed it to adopt a process when we're doing the releases to be able to manage those releases. And also a process for the test suite, which could help the project and the community to replicate the issues. All these tasks, all these processes were important when we were in the incubation, and also they are still important now because Apache AGE is part of the Apache Software Foundation, and it still needs to follow those standards and those qualities. And what you're seeing in this slide is the Apache AGE status page, which shows, as you can see in the green highlighted, it shows that AGE graduated as a top level in May 2022. It does show all the information in detail regarding this project, all the committers, all the releases with a specific date that it happened, and also the link to the different information regarding the Apache AGE. So you're more than welcome. Feel free to check the status page, and also all this information are available on Apache AGE website. Apache AGE went through the graduation process in May 2022. So to be able to become a top level project, as I mentioned, we had to successfully complete some tasks. So at that time, we went through the checklist to make sure that we have all it takes to become a top level project. So we checked our checklist, we made sure that all the tasks are there, all the requirement, licensing, trademarks, everything is aligned with Apache requirements. And then after that, we opened a community vote. So we opened a thread asking the community to share their feedbacks with us, to share their thoughts, to see if they can check and make sure that we are ready to graduate. So after a week or two, community checked everything, and they shared their feedbacks and thoughts on that thread, supporting us and telling us that, hey, Apache AGE is ready to graduate. So we got enough votes, and we closed that vote successfully, and we went through the second round of voting, which was IPMC graduation. So in the IPMC graduation, we have broader community, all the ASF members are there. So they also checked, and they shared their feedback with us, saying that they think that Apache AGE is also ready to graduate as a top level project. So after passing those two votes successfully, Apache AGE community submitted the resolution to the board, and after a couple days, we heard back from the board saying that Apache AGE is graduated as a top level project and now is one of the top level projects of Apache Software Foundation. And after getting the approval, Apache Software Foundation formally announced in the different medias, different channels through the ASF, that Apache AGE now is a top-level project of Apache Software Foundation.
The Apache Software Foundation as an organization has garnered a worldwide community. When we joined ASF, we began to attract the attention of this community that is full of leading tech professionals, enthusiastic hobbyists, and individuals that are genuinely excited about open source software and want to see the open source world continue to grow and prosper. When the AGE project began its journey through the incubation process, COVID-19 lockdowns were beginning to happen all around the world. With all face-to-face communication gone, we had to learn how to work in an electronic-only workplace, as we had to learn how to build a community. In retrospect, this was a benefit to the project. With all means of communication now online, including between the original team, it was easier for people to join the community and be part of the conversation. We began to work with people all around the world, from different cultures with different professional needs and people who had different ideas and goals for AGE. We quickly learned that the best way to build the community was to be open, honest, and welcoming. We tried to welcome people and respond to their ideas and issues as quickly as we could. When we built the community, we learned that the best way to do so is to follow the phrase, if you build it, they will come. Focus on building the best project possible. The ASF community and the open source community as a whole are filled with dedicated, hardworking people who are passionate about quality projects and seeing that the open source world continues to thrive. When they find a project that they find interesting, they will investigate the project, they will find issues, come up with ideas, and propose them to the community. If you, as a PMC member, read their ideas and respond in a constructive, positive way, they will come back, propose more ideas, find more issues that will make the project better, and this cycle will continue to propagate. You do not need to look hard to find these either. Most of these things will happen in your GitHub repository or in the ASF mailing lists. One of the best examples of this system working is the gentleman in front of you right now, Peter Yan, who goes on GitHub by PD Potter. Starting off on March 21st, 2021, asking a simple question about how to execute cipher commands when his Postgres security system was not working. He has gone on to find many bugs in the project that have been fixed. He has gone on to propose many new features which have been implemented and come up with many ideas for how to improve the project and helped many others resolve their issues as well. He has also gone on to contribute our documentation system for our website, which we continue to use to this day. He has proven to be an invaluable person for the project, and he has helped guide us to where we are today. He is now a PMC member for this project. Another great example of this is Nick Sorrell. Nick joined the community in June 2021 and has also proven to be invaluable in the health and longevity of this project. He has helped redesign the Apache AGE website to what it is today. He helped build the Docker images, which are currently used by the AGE project, which has greatly expanded the number of users who can use the project and help build the audience to what it is. And he is also proven to be a GitHub expert, helping the team with their issues as they arise.
Lessons learned and advice. Well, the key lesson that our team learned was Apache is a volunteer-driven organization. So we needed to be mindful that Apache time is donated time. This applies to mentors and others in the Apache community. Additionally, Apache response time can be very difficult at times to manage, especially for projects that have a company as a sponsor, as does ours. And so whereas we are on a timeline of, in the project of what to get done, the Apache community itself is volunteering their time, and so they will only really get to see it on possibly the weekend or late in the evenings when they actually log on. So that was difficult for us to get used to at first, and it's a valuable lesson that we learned as well. Apache is also a very cosmopolitan community, so communication can be difficult at times. There are people that are in different parts of the world. They have different languages that they're accustomed to, and communication can be difficult, though everyone tries very hard to work with you and make sure that everything is understood. So these are 3 lessons that we learned that we felt were important to inform other individuals and other potential projects. 2 additional lessons, rather important ones that we learned, were pointed out by the Apache community itself, which was that our standards were a little bit unreasonably high. And that was due to the fact that we're sponsored by a company. We have a schedule. As I stated before, we have goals and milestones and due dates for our components, our projects, and we have a particular standard that we apply to everyone that's involved. When we started, we tended to apply this standard to everybody else and expected rather had rather high expectations. And so it was pointed out that we needed to be more welcoming and open and reduce some of our requirements so that we could allow individual contributors that can focus on specific things like documentation or some code changes or some drivers, for example. So that was one. Another was learning to be more inclusive of others in the project. And by that I mean learning to give up some of the control, let go of the project, because initially Apache AGE was an in-house project and it was all ours. And so we had complete control over it. Then when we donated it, we now had shared control. And so it became important to slowly let go. And it takes time. I mean, when it's your project and now it's everyone's project, it takes some time to actually just let go of it. And that was one of the things that we learned, and we're still learning, to be more inclusive of others into the project.
Join us and join our community. We would love to see you to join the community and help us to grow and develop the Apache AGE better, and to add more features to it, and for it to be more beneficial to their users. So you can contribute to the different part of this project. If you're interested, you may contribute to the documentation, you can contribute to the source code, you can help us with the issues that are open on the GitHub, or you can also help us with the future of AGE. For example, we do have a roadmap, so if you have any feedbacks, if you think there's another item that needs to be there, you can always reach out to us and contribute in this way. So again, we would love to see you to be part of the project. And as I mentioned, there are lots of different ways for the contribution to this project. It's not only source code. There are, as I mentioned, different paths and different process to joining this project. As I mentioned, there are different ways to contribute to this project. If you're interested for the documentation, you may check out our documentation online on Apache AGE project. And also, if you would like to try AGE, please go on the website, or you can also download it from the GitHub repository. Try it, tell us what you think, give us your feedbacks. And also there are specific documentations on our website that will give you more instruction on how to start the process of contributing to this project. Check that out. It has all the details on how and where you can contribute to this project. Again, we would love to see you. And this is our current team, Apache AGE team. So we have a list of the PMCs and also the list of the contributors. So if you're interested, you can reach out to us, any of us, and you can, let us know if you have any question, or, if you have any feedbacks to us. But again, the best way to reach out to Apache AGE team is through the mailing list, which again, the list of mailing lists, you can find it on Apache AGE website. And also, if you go on the website, there are sections regarding different documentation and different basically ways of contacting us.
Thank you for joining our presentation. We will now begin the Q&A portion of this presentation. If you have any questions, please feel free to ask them now.